You're listening to the Chronicles-of-Livin-podcast, where we talk to everyday people about everyday things in the past, present, and future. Now let's talk.
Greetings, my visionary dreamers. How is everybody doing on Let's Talk Sundays? I hope everybody had an awesome Thanksgiving. I did, although it was a very different Thanksgiving. But before I start talking, this is Adionne, your dream pusher, your lifeguard, saving you from the world, saving you from drowning in some real bull-ish, saving you from yourself. Get out your way, y'all. Get out your way and do the damn thing. And to my first time listeners, this is Chronicles of Living podcast show. The show that's for everyday people doing everyday things, living everyday life. You know us normal folks. You know, we just want to live. That's all. Can we just live for a moment? But yeah, today's topic kind of came from the whole holiday, and decided to talk about this. I thought it would be very good to share this topic. Conversations with strangers can help you find your truth. Conversations with strangers can help you find your truth. And what do I mean by that? I mean, okay, first off, this is my first holiday, my first Thanksgiving holiday, period, spending without my family. And when I say family, mostly it's been me and my son, because, you know, he's youngest. And so I had to make a decision because, first off, I wanted to catch up on a lot. That's one thing. And I had a nice amount of days off. Secondly, I had so much to get together with the car that I kind of put off from the move. I never did get my brakes on. I just got my tires. And then it's time for, registration, all of this stuff. Anyway, long story short, I had to make a decision how I want to do this because, you know, if you listen, you know, my family is pretty much wide. They're spread all over the place and everybody's kind of far. So my mother, she lives in Ohio. So my son, you know, that was the plan to go there. But then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, if I do all of this with the car, then I still got to go pick him up, which he is about 2 hours and maybe 40 minutes away from me. Then we had to drive all the way to Ohio. Then I got to drive him back. It just became too much. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to pay for a train ticket for him. So that's what wound up happening. I sent him to my mom's, and I decided to go it alone for Thanksgiving and to stay here. And you know, actually, it was really nice. It was quiet, you know, although, you know, a lot of people went away. There were a nice amount that stayed, and we had a nice Thanksgiving, and families cooked different desserts and stuff like that. So it was really nice. It was different. It was nice. And so, which brings me to the topic. Through the midst of all that, I had, you know, planned on really catching up with a whole lot of things, catching up with the blog, catching up with the podcast, just things, updating a lot of stuff. That was what was on my mind, and laundry, you know, just catching up. And in the midst of going to, I think it was maybe lunch, I went to go get some lunch, and I'm trying to think, I think it might have been Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving Day. I went to get some lunch. And then when I came back, I'm trying to remember that I met her before. Well, anyway, usually there's not a lot of guests that comes here for the retreat during the holiday time. Just a handful. And I'm always, you know, when I see the guests, I try to speak to them, but sometimes it's just too many. You can't do one-on-one time too much. But every now and then, my spirit just tells me to sit with one of them. And if you've been following the podcast, I'm big on that. I'm big on really staying in tune with your spirit because you never know why, you know, regardless of what it is. I've told you some crazy story of me listening to my spirits. nevertheless, I saw her and introduced myself and just, asked her about her stay. And she was saying that she was having a good time or whatever. I just kept it real short and I just went on about my way. And then the next day, I had been working. I was working on a blog, and y'all could go check out the blog. I really did a lot of updating, so y'all could go check out chronicles-of-livin-podcast. Go check it out. I've been really working hard on it. So as I was working on a blog the next day, my spirit just was like, go sit with her today. Go eat with her today. When you see her, eat with her today. It didn't say what time, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. Well, I had missed breakfast, so it was either lunch or dinner. That's what it was going to be. So, and if you're listening, I hope you are. I'm so mad that, well, anyway, I'm going to tell the story first. So, I wound up going down and I didn't see her. And then what happened was we had chili and cornbread, this jalapeno cornbread. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So if anybody is listening from here, from the Institute, it was really good. And normally I just get a little bowl and that is that I try to watch my eating. And but I just wanted some more cornbread. So I went back down there for some more cornbread. And in the midst of getting more cornbread, I saw her. So there went the moment to sit and talk to her. Now she pretty much was finished, a little bit of her food. And I had my little bowl of cornbread. And so I asked her, I said, you mind if I sit with you? She acknowledged, she said hi with a smile and everything. She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So sat, talked. Let me tell you, by the time we were done, we had sat there and talked for like 2 hours. And really the only reason why we stopped talking because it was time for, we do meditation here and everything. It was time for, prayer meditation, and she wanted to go catch it or whatever. And so, but it just was it was very interesting because the conversation just took on a life of its own. And we talked in general, we started off in general and just, asking about, holidays and family. And so one conversation led to the next and led to the next. And so in the midst of that, of me sharing that, we both had family pretty much spread out all over the place. And so in the midst of, me telling about this is my first time without my son and everything. And there went the stories of, I don't even know how I got on the topic of the fact that I moved so many times, but that's just how in depth we were with our conversation. And so I had explained to her, I was like, yeah, I did move around a lot because I think she said she moved a few times. I think that's how I started. Anyway. And so, because my amount of times of moving is such a large amount, which I'm going to get the real total one day. I keep saying 20 something, 30 something, I don't know, but I'm going to sit there one day and get the real amount. She was interested in that. Like what I told her, I said, each move was unique, regardless of how everybody looks at it. Each move was unique, and each move, there was a need for someone else. And it was something else for me to learn from someone else, and I was able to help someone and they were able to help me. So there went the story. So in the midst of telling the stories to her, the different times, it got to the point that she had started crying at some point. I had her crying at with some of the stories. She was laughing at some of them. I mean, real tears. Okay. She's like, oh my gosh. And, I'm just flowing with it. And I'm like, you want to hear more? She's like, yeah, please, wait a minute. Tell me some more. Tell me. I'm like, wow, okay. This is real stuff. This is real life stuff. But I realized this, she was from a different ethnic background. And I realized this, that just like I always tell y'all, the things that we go through in life are not for us. They're for someone else. And this is why you shouldn't be ashamed of your background, your past, and the things that you've been through. You shouldn't, hold it hostage to you and not want to. First of all, it's unhealthy if it's something that is really like kind of haunting you and that you really feel like maybe you were disappointed in yourself or shameful, that's not good for your health. So it's better to release it. And the one thing, not the one thing, I learned a lot from her. And obviously she got a lot out of the conversation because as we were leaving each other, I mean, we must have hugged, I don't even know how long. We never met each other before, but she just kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. I got something out of that. It was something, for me. She didn't get a chance to tell me. She said she was going to tell me, and she asked me, could I meet her to eat with her the next day? And I was like, are you sure? Because, I know you want to get your little Musa time on. She was like, no, I want to meet. I want to, talk some more. I was like, okay. So needless to say, we just didn't connect the next couple of days. We just kept missing each other. But I just came from getting my dinner, and I found out from the receptionist that she left me some. So I guess she must have left me her information, which I got to go back down and get it because I was running up here to do the show. But, I realized, like, it's crazy because I'm thinking like, okay, these are just regular stuff. This is just, for me, is my norm. But for her, she was like, oh my goodness, some of the stories I told her. And even, when you think about your life, there are so many things and so many stories and so many chapters that I could have shared with her. But for some reason, the certain chapters just came out my mouth to share with her. So I don't know, because we never got a chance to finish, and she didn't get a chance to tell me what the conversation did for her, because she was going to tell me the next day that it touched on some things, as far as what she was going through. And she explained to me how she saw how I was getting, like, my situation seemed so grim as I was beginning the story, but at the end of each story, I found light at the end of the tunnel, and it was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, she was like, she had a girlfriend that's kind of like that, that'll find the positive out of the negative, and that was the thing. I think that was the thing that got her. So whatever it is that she was dealing with at this time in her life, and it might not even be that bad or nothing, but whatever it was that touched, whether it be one thing that adjusted her mindset from me sharing my stories and sharing some of the things that happened in the course of my life, then that conversation was all worth it. That 2 hours of talking to a stranger that I have never met in my life was worth it, because she got something out of the conversation. And what I got out of the conversation was, even though I've been talking through my situations and I've been freeing myself, because I used to be such a private person before I started the podcast show, before I started the 30-day Facebook Live. And what she kind of showed me, and I guess kind of reminded me, I'm going to say that, she reminded me of why God had me do that 30-day, start off with a 30-day live broadcast on Facebook to strangers. She brought it to memory very, without her knowing. She didn't know this. But after we talked, it made me realize that. It made me realize that, okay, even though I had the Facebook page, my other Facebook page, and I had a ton of friends, and it probably would have been more views because I knew those people, for some reason, God put it on my heart to start it on a page that I really didn't know too many people. And I believe the reason why is because you're more comfortable talking to someone that don't know you. They don't know your baggage. They can't pass judgment. They can pass judgment when they hear your story, but because you're being so candid with them and you're opening up to them, for some reason, I think psychologically with people, when you share with them and you open up with them, it will allow them to take their guard down and open up to you and release things, to you that they've been holding back and holding heavy on their heart. And so therefore now you both talking to each other, you're both strangers, and you might not ever see each other again in life. But for that moment, you have both healed yourself of shame, of doubt, of guilt, of whatever it is that you were holding on to, that you didn't want other people to know about you, or you didn't want, you felt like people would pass judgment on you that you knew already, your family, your friends, you were able to release it with that stranger for that one moment. And now you walk away from the situation feeling much better about yourself, feeling much better about your future, feeling much better just about you in general. And in some cases, you wind up looking at yourself as to why the heck was I so afraid to share that about me? Or why did I keep that such a secret? Why was I so private about that? Look, this is my life, happens, you know what I mean? And nothing's perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all strive to be perfect in what we do and who we are. That is my hope that we do, every day. But nevertheless, I believe that's why it was so easy for me to do that 30-day challenge and then come right off of that and start rebuild my blog, bring my blog back up and start this podcast show and make it just for everyday people, everyday situations, just keeping it real simple and just sharing about my life so that you can see that, yeah, you might feel like you're going through something bad in life right now. You might feel like, oh, it's horrible. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. But then when you come and you listen to a podcast show like this, and I'm sharing stories with you, and I'm telling you just by itself that I've moved over 20 something, 30 something times in my life and had that many jobs. I mean, goodness, that's a lot. And I'm still here. I'm talking to you. I still got my sanity, things work out at the end of the day. I still have a positive attitude. I didn't let it stress me out. I'm still getting carded sometimes when I walk with my son. So my youth is still there. I didn't let life stress me out, I felt like after, once she showed so much emotions through the stories. And, as I think about the stuff that I shared with her, some of it I didn't even share with y'all yet, but it just came up. I don't know why, but I will share, those stories with y'all, whatever ones I didn't share. But as I think about what I did share with her, they are moments of tears. I mean, one of them when she had glasses, she had to wipe her eyes. That story, actually, I cried when that happened as well, because it was just like, well, it was tears of joy, because the ending of the story was just so awesome, and it's just like you would never think that when you're walking past people from day to day, you're in the store, you're wherever you are, you're sitting on a train. Sometimes we'll get on a bus, we'll get on a train, we'll just sit next to someone. And some of us would just do the whole ride. It could be a whole hour and not say nothing to the person, not say hi, but you never know. Sometimes you could sit next to a person and they need that just, hi, how are you today? That probably would just make their whole day. They probably never had nobody say hi or whatever like that. And you just never know how you can, affect someone in a positive way just by speaking to them, just by saying hi. There's a lot of people that won't even say hi. They just keep walking and just have this whole mad face like, okay, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? But you just never know. I can remember being in Walmart one time, and I don't know, this lady comes to mind, but y'all know me, I'm talkative. So it's been plenty of times I've been at a Walmart, been at Target, wherever, and I just started a conversation with someone, but I just try to recall whatever came to mind first. That's how I try to flow with the show. So I won't be trying to think too hard. But this particular lady, we were in line, and I think the how the cashier start messing up or whatever, and you think you only got a couple of items, and next thing you know, you in the line for freaking darn near 45 minutes or something, just because out the whole store is one cashier. So that was this situation, and then we just started talking, and I don't even know how, again, the conversation went, but she just started sharing with me how she had a 6-figure job and she lost her job. She had been there for some years, I don't know, maybe like 10 years. And she was in this relationship. And once the money ran out, her spouse left her. And she was gay. I don't want to say it out of turn, but she was same sex. She was in a same sex relationship. Okay. So, and so her partner left her once the money ran out. And so I don't know why she just shared it with me. And then I'm sitting there in the line. We in the line, the Walmart line. It's pretty much one person in front of us, but that person, whatever was going on with the cash register was all jacked up. And so we just waiting. So in the midst of that conversation, I shared some stories with her, and I told, to encourage her. And I told her, I said, yeah, when I did the mortgage business, I could relate. And, I had that problem happen to me before where I was making a nice amount of money. I had to give up everything, and quite a few times that happened to me. So in the midst of sharing my story with her, she hugged me at the end of the day. And she was like, oh, it was so nice talking to you by the time the cashier got it all together. So it wasn't that the cash register was meant to mess up. Understand this. And I know y'all all been in a line in a store where rather it be a new cashier, rather it just be the cash register is just whack or whatever. You've been in those moments where you know what I'm talking about, where you think you about to just sell through the line, and next thing you know, you in the line for like ever. So I say all that to say everything happens for a reason. Out of all the people, all the different guests that came here, for some reason, my spirit just led me to her, to sit with her. And I told her, I said, I don't really sit with many guests. Since I've been here, I've sat with maybe I want to say 3 guests. Like, I've always talked to the guests, and just, matter of fact, I talked to someone for a good while the next day. Yeah, another guest for probably like a good half an hour the next day. But we wasn't sitting, I was standing, and, we were just talking about kids and everything. It was a great conversation. We learned something from each other, I'm sure. But nevertheless, when your spirit tells you something, and tells you to maybe go hug a stranger, or just go ask a stranger, how they're doing or whatever, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it, because you don't know. You don't know the benefits. You can't look at life as everything got to benefit you. You can't look at it like, I don't know that person. What am I going to get out of the conversation? What am I going to get out of saying hi? What am I going to get out of, you can't look at it like that, because you never know. You never know what will happen. And it might not be something that you will see right then and there. You know what I'm saying? It might be something like how I wound up reflecting after our conversation later on that day, like, wow, she was really, into, my past, and where I was looking at my past as such obstacles and struggles I had to keep getting over. For her, it was good. It was good for her to hear, for whatever reason, for whatever it is that she took away from it. You know what I'm saying? And it just reminded me, like, I'm like, wow, I wonder if when I'm sharing my stories on the podcast, do I take some of y'all through emotional trips or whatever? But I think the one-on-one sharing is a little bit more in depth than me sharing on a podcast, because it's like a physical thing, because we're looking at each other eye to eye. And so the emotion of it becomes greater, because, we're sitting right there. So the energy exchange is a little bit more deeper than you hearing me in your earphones. Although I'm hoping that when I come through your earphones that, my voice hits chords in you and motivates and encourages you and brightens and lifts your day as well, But it gave me that energy and that confirmation that I'm on the right path, that what I'm doing is a good thing. And me opening up to strangers all over the World Wide Web is a good thing, actually. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for my health. And it's a good thing for whoever is listening to, that can help them that can help y'all in your life. And even, like I said, even if it doesn't help you, it might help you understand other people. You know what I mean? It might help you understand your son, your daughter, your mother, your spouse, whatever, when I share these certain stories with y'all. So like another time when I can recall, another thing about far as when you conversate with strangers, you got to look at, if you think about right now, you think about your top 5 friends, or maybe you probably got 2 friends. I don't know. These days, real friend is hard to come by. But just say your top 2 friends or whatever. How did you meet them? They were strangers, right? Majority of the time, they're strangers. Sometimes you might meet them through another family member or whatever, but majority of the time, your BFFs are people that were strangers first. And for some reason, y'all just connected out of everybody in the crowd, everybody in the room, everybody in the job, and y'all just became friends. And now, in the course of that friendship, y'all had both shared. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. Y'all already know I just got finished eating. Sorry. But in the course of your relationship throughout the years, you have shared so much with each other. You've learned so much from each other. You encouraged and motivated each other so much that you probably can look at your life and think like, where would you be without that friend? Or where, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that you would have grown as much as you've grown? Or in some cases, were you better before you met that friend? Were you a better person? Did being a friend to that person bring you down? So it's so many things that we can learn from each other in finding our truth. We can learn from strangers in finding our truth. I can remember when I first met one of my friends, and she listening, she's going to laugh. But I can remember going to this school, this like little certification. I was getting my certification in something. I don't know. I'm always getting certification in something. It was, I think, credit finance and something. It was something. I can't even remember. But it was years ago. But I can remember at orientation, there were 2 people that I kind of like. It was a few of us in orientation, but there were 2 people that I was kind of like, I don't know, like connected with. And so after the orientation, we exchanged numbers. Now, the first person, it seemed like because this person was into music that I would have connected to her more. And I did at first, but then the other person, we just hit it off. We really hit it off. And so we started kind of hanging out after lunch and things of that nature. And then there was another female, like maybe within that month or so, that I met, and she did hair, really, really good. And so we hit it off. So I pretty much, went to her house. She did hair at her house, and I went to her house and I was getting my hair done. And lo and behold, now this is what I'm saying about. Now this is somebody else finding their truth when you connect with strangers. So lo and behold, I was getting my hair done from her one day, from one of the females one day, and we got to talking, and she had some kids, and then she started talking about her baby daddy, and next thing you know, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, this guy sounds familiar. Well, come to find out that they had the same baby daddy. And they didn't know each other, but we were all taking the same class or whatever. But they weren't connected, but it was just like, I was cool with this one. And so, you know how sometimes you could have a couple friends, but you kind of roll with them on their own, and then you roll with that one on their own. So it was like that. So then once I found out, like, whoa, okay, they got the same baby daddy. This needs to come out in a very good way because, I knew my friend, which is my friend now, my main friend, she's my friend now to the day. This is my friend that always got to critique everything. She wasn't messing with the guy. She had been done with the guy. So I knew she wasn't going to have a problem with it. But my goal was, like, they had kids, and their kids were like near the same age. And I'm like, wow, that would be nice for them to connect or whatever. And so that's what wound up happening. I shared with them both, and they agreed to meet, and they agreed to let the kids meet. And to this day, they're okay with each other. I mean, they might not see each other all the time, but the kids were able to meet, and they hit it off, and it's no drama, no nothing. And so this is what I'm saying about you just never know what you get out of when you meet people. Strangers become friends. Now, me and the guests, we really kicked it off, and we decided then, like, yeah, we wanted to keep in touch, and I'm sure we will, get in contact. I guess she must have left her info for me. And you just never know. You just never know what comes out of meeting a stranger, what you will learn about yourself. With that stranger will learn about themselves, and how we can grow from just one conversation, one single conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows, the lady at Walmart, who knows what that did for her, the words of encouragement that I gave to her that day, and how she looked at life, because it looked like she was really down on herself. She had been with that person for some years, and it seemed like she was really like feeling down on herself, like she was worthless because that person left her. And then she realized that she was only with her for the money at the end of the day. That's what it was all about. So who knows, whatever words that I shared with her, I couldn't tell you, but whatever words I shared, it was enough to make her want. And she was kind of rough looking, but it was enough to make her want to give me a hug and thank me for that short conversation. And just a big old smile. She went from just this sad look to this big old smile leaving out the door with her groceries. So you don't know. You don't know. And like I said, I found my truth. I got some more out of that conversation too, which is really, really huge, but I can't share with y'all yet. I'm going to share with her when I contact her, but it's going to benefit everybody in the long run. But it is something that I got out of that was allowed me to see something else that I need to move forward in doing. And like I said, I just don't want to share yet, because I like to wait until I get things, together and it's done. I'm learning to do that. Just be secretive until it's all done, I mean, this is the 48th show. And so my cousin was telling me on show 50, I got to do something special. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I'm going to do special. Now, I know I'm going to beef this podcast up. I think that by show 50, I have grown enough to start taking it to the next level. And I just kept it really simple, far as not having too many interviews or too much music and stuff like that, just so I can learn. I mean, I was listening to some of my past from the beginning. OMG. One of them, I was like, oh my gosh, it was the mic was, it was the earphones, because I must have had earphones on that time. But just to listen back from the beginning and see where this show came now. And I know this is not talking about the conversation with strangers right at this moment, but this is just me right now encouraging y'all to get started. Just listening back. And even though some of the times I'm like, it took a minute to come on and say hi, and some of the times, it might have been like 2-3 shows that, oh my gosh, whatever earphones I was using was whack. But I remember just how much traveling I was doing, and how everything, I was trying to get things in order, like moving here and stuff. It was just a lot going on when I first started, but I made up in my mind that I wasn't going to let life get in the way this time, and I wasn't going to stop. And so I say all that to say, had I let life get in the way in all them different times, if you listen to the past shows, that I had to pull over to a gas station and do the show and stuff like that. If you just listen and not worry about if the mic was all crazy or whatever, if you could hear it through all that, and just realize, like, whatever it is that you've been putting off, that you trying to wait until it's perfect, it's time. It's time for you to do it. It's time for you to start it, because had I not kept going, I wouldn't have grown. I wouldn't have. And I know that, this podcast is not like the best on the earth, but every time I come on, I can see that I'm getting better and better. And even like things like last week or the week before, I realized when I listened back that something was wrong with the recording because I didn't get a chance to adjust it back after the interview. So little things like that, and learning that, okay, what do I have to do? So I had to keep fooling around with it till I got it back, which thank God I believe is back. But even last week, I don't know. It kind of seemed a little bit, but who knows? But I just say all that to say, we gotta start taking risk. And that means not just, let me share one more story with you about conversations with strangers. Okay. And the benefits of it. So, one of the stories I shared with y'all before about one of the moves, and matter of fact, a couple weeks ago when I moved back to Georgia, and the mortgage industry pretty much kind of crashed. But I still wanted to do mortgage, and I wanted a U-Haul, and you got to listen to the last podcast. I'm not going to tell the story over, but nevertheless, I realized I didn't finish that story and tell you what job did I get. I mean, that I went for. So I went in, I got the Jeep, and I got the apartment, but I still had to get a job, and I knew I wanted to still be in the mortgage business, real estate business at that time. And so there was this place right around from the apartment complex, this business center, business, kind of complex or whatever. And they did everything in there. They did mortgage, they did insurance, they did real estate in this building. I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. So I always had my resume, took my resume, and I went on in there, and I gave my resume to the receptionist or whatever. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to get, the manager to come out and talk to you. So meanwhile, I'm just sitting there in the lobby, and I'm talking, and this guy, came out, this older guy. Well, actually, I think he was near my age. I always think people older because sometimes I just feel like I'm still young. I don't know. But anyway, he came out. He was just sitting in the lobby too, waiting. And he just, he had on some jeans and some sneakers or whatever. So I just figured he was just, I don't know, maintenance or something. So I don't know. We just got in this conversation. It was a really good conversation. Can't tell you what the conversation was about because y'all know I like to talk. But we got in this nice conversation to the point we was laughing and joking and everything. And then he had to leave, and then I wound up having to leave, and they said that they couldn't get in touch with the manager, was busy or whatever like that, and they would get him to call me. So I went on home, and later on that night, I can remember it being like maybe 7 at night. I know it was after business hours. So I get this phone call, and it's man and he's like, yeah, you came today for a position at the company or whatever. I'm the CEO, this and that and the other. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Well, I've been looking over your resume, and everything looks good and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm the one that you was talking to in the lobby. I was talking to the freaking CEO in the lobby and didn't even know, because I'm so open to talking to strangers. I never think about, and this man had on some Bobo sneakers, just some jeans, just a regular light shirt, t-shirt, because it was summer. I mean, he just looked like a regular guy, wasn't like suited up. You wouldn't, and this is what I'm saying is, you can't judge a book by its cover, y'all. People think that, somebody that owns a company, they're going to be suited down all the time. No, look at, like I said before, look at Steve Jobs, look at, Mark Zuckerberg, look at, Bill Gates, look at how they dress. You know what I mean? They don't put themselves all out there. Like, they don't have to be Dapper Dan all the time. Anybody that know Dapper Dan, y'all know Dapper Dan, and shout out to Dapper Dan. But don't be afraid to talk to strangers, because you never know where it will lead you. And of course, I wound up getting a job and things of that nature, and I'll share the rest of that story on another day, because I got another part to it too. All my stories are never ending, but it's all good. He was a good dude. So yeah, and it really shocked me, because I was just being me, as I normally do, and just not wanting to sit in silence in the lobby, and just started busting it up. And he was talking back, and we just had a great conversation, to the point that he was able to see the authentic me. He saw me before the interview. He saw me just being me. So that allowed him to make a decision on if I was a good fit for his company. Now, had I had a conversation or had I'd have been there, just sitting there, just like all evil, he said hi, and I'm like, hey, with an attitude, don't want to talk. Guess what? I might not have got the job. I might not have, he probably have been like, oh no, just tear her resume up. You know what I mean? She's antisocial and I don't need her fronting when she come into the interview. You know what I mean? So, yeah, guys, I mean, talk to strangers. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt you. You never know who you will meet in passing. You never know. And I definitely found my truth in talking to the guests, which I will share with y'all later on because I want to work out some things first. But she sparked a certain interest, a certain thing in me as well. So if you're listening, thank you. Hugs and kisses. And I really enjoyed our conversation because I did give it the podcast show we didn't have a pen. That was the strange thing. We didn't have no pens. I left my cell phone. We didn't have our cell phones because, as you know, the cell phones don't work so well here. So what's the point of carrying it around? So we didn't get a chance to exchange information. So I just pretty much told her the name. So hopefully by the time she got to her room, she remembered the name of the podcast show because she said she wanted to listen. So nevertheless, I'm hitting my 40-minute mark. Oh, wait, I got one more short story. So if you listen to some in this, I think because I share little bits and pieces from other podcast shows, that's my way of making y'all go listen back to some of the past podcast shows. But in the midst of that time when I was in the shelter, that was another thing, like just talking to they were strangers to me when I first came there, and everybody, they had their own reason for being there. And one of the guys, he just happened to he was there because he moved from another state and pretty much didn't have nowhere to go, whatever. Was just trying to get things in order, whatever, and had some kids or whatever, and just trying to make sure he had things right. But he was a mechanic. Is a mechanic and a good mechanic. And so in the midst of me meeting him in there and conversating, having good conversations with him in there, when I told y'all a story about I ran over a deer by mistake. Well, I had no choice, but anyway, the deer kind of tore the car up, and that's part of the reason why I still got to get fixed on the car too. But anyway, when that happened, I hadn't talked to anybody, from the shelter for probably like good 6 months at that point or something, and something just told me to call him and ask him. And do you know he came to my house? Oh, he working now, good job, great job, as a matter of fact, on with his life and stuff too. But he came to my house. Not only he came to my house, he kind of tidied up the car enough to, get it where it's straight or whatever until I can take it because he, didn't have the car lift and all that whole bit. But I was like, how much, he was like, what, please, I would never charge you, you good people and this and that and the other. And I was like, wow, thank you. Like, I really wasn't expecting that. You get what I'm saying? I really wasn't. But it wasn't like, we talked to each other while we were in there, here and there. But the fact of the matter is there were other people in there. And everybody in there, you're not going to be willing to just do something for everybody. But obviously, because I'm such an open person and I always try my best to encourage people, and that's basically what he was saying, to encourage people and treat people good, it came back to me in a way I didn't expect. You know what I'm saying? Who would have known that I was going to need him to help me out and everything, and he saved me money. So kudos to you if you're listening to, you know who you are, because I try my best not to say names on here. And a lot of times, because I don't say names, some people think that I'm talking about them, and I'm really not. But if you feel like I'm talking to you, if it's a situation that I'm talking about, then and if it's making you not feel so great about yourself, then maybe that's something that you need to work on in you. So I'm just going to leave y'all with these words. Just go out there, y'all. Do it. Be open-minded. Of course you want to keep your shield, you know what I mean? You definitely want to keep your shield of protection because, some people are not out for the good. But for the most, turn a new leaf in life. A new year is about to start soon. Do something that you never did before. Try something new. Go out, start saying hi to people. Start hugging folk. I'm not saying everybody, but, if you see somebody looking down, just ask them how they doing and tell them have a good day or something, but just do something nice for somebody else. If that's not your norm, that's definitely going to be a stretch. And I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to be nice to somebody that you don't know. How about that? Do something nice for somebody you don't know. I've just shared a post on my Facebook. This guy is like I guess he was like maybe like in his 30s or something like that. And it was this kind of homeless guy on the streets, and he was just like really like messed up. And the guy on the video, and this is for real, this just happened. And the guy on the video, he literally gave the coat off his back to the guy and took his sneakers off his feet and gave it to him and gave him this blanket. And then the homeless guy was crying, and and this was a black guy, and the homeless guy was this white older man, and it was just like he gave him a hug. And for me, that is what life is about. This is what needs to go on to make our world a better place. Sometimes we got more to give than what we really believe we got to give. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and he gave him money out of his pocket. That's right. He gave him some money out of his pocket as well. He really blessed that man. And trust me, all of that stuff is going to come back to him as well. So, while sometimes I come on here and I might try to dig in y'all stuff, there's a lot of times I'm digging in y'all stuff because I want everybody, including me, to get better than you was yesterday. You know what I mean? I want you to start looking at life in a different light. I want you to stop repeating the same cycles if it's not beneficial to you, to your health, to your family. I just want us all to be better than we was yesterday. So I'm going to leave y'all with that today. And I need y'all to remember that I cut out Mondays because Mondays are now going to be the blog post. And I really worked hard on this blog post, so I'm not going to tell y'all about it. Y'all got to go to the blog tomorrow. I'm going to make sure it's up by lunchtime, noon, Eastern time. The blog post will be up. And every Monday, there'll be a new blog post. Every Sunday and Wednesday, I will be on here live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay? So I'm going to be talking to y'all on Wednesday. And this is Adionne, your dream pusher, your lifeguard, saving you from the world, saving you from yourself, from just drowning in some real bullish. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So this is Chronicles of Living podcast show. And until Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, I'll talk to y'all then. I love you guys. I really, truly love you guys. And peace.
Thank you for listening to Chronicles of Living, where we talk to everyday people about everyday things in the past, present, and future. And if you are pursuing your dreams, I'm proud of you. Because the best part of life is when you decide to live. To keep up with us, please visit chronicles-of-livin-podcast. Until next time, this is Adionne, your dream pusher. I love you guys.